Hi YouTube. Today I wanted to do a little comparison on Pentax Spotmatic, one of my personal favorite cameras, and a couple others I have. This is a Zenit EM, and this one was made about 1977. This is a Fed 5, which was made much later. This is made in the middle 90s, and I lucked out with this one. I happened to get this one brand new in the box, had never been used. We'll start with the simple stuff here without destroying everything. Again, this is my Pentax Spotmatic, which is a camera I just adore. It's got very smooth operation. It's got an excellent curtain. It's made solid. It's very heavy, not including the handle I've got on it right now. This has through the lens metering, and when these cameras were first put on the market back in 1964, that was cutting edge technology. I believe Pentax was the first to use through the lens metering. And for anyone who hasn't used one of these, you would find your subject through the viewfinder. You would do your focus, and you'd hit the button on the side, and that would stop down your aperture, so you can get your depth of field and set your shutter speed and aperture accordingly. This one will do shutter speeds up to 1/1000th of a second, and it's just superbly made. I mean, it's very smooth, it's very effortless, feels pretty good in your hands. This has got its original Asahi Takumar lens, the super multi-coated, which were phenomenal lenses in their day, and still are if you can find them. This takes the M42 screw mount lens, which means it's got just endless mountains of possibilities of lens combinations that can go with this camera, because they were made for so long in such huge numbers. And I did another video on this, and they're just superbly made. It's all metal cast metal body, cast metal parts, metal gearing, metal everything. It's just a good solid camera, and if you find one in good condition, it will just work and work and work and work. And there's really not many problems these things have habitually, but the major ones, like the mirror sticking in the up position, with a little bit of ingenuity and a little bit of mechanical aptitude, usually you can have them working again fairly quickly. Next, this is its relative equivalent, the Zenit EM. This also has through the lens, oh, it does not, I'm sorry, it does not have through the lens metering. It does have, it's an SLR, single lens reflex, so it does have through the lens viewing. However, to set, because this has a selenium cell, it's self-powering, does not take a battery, and while most of them today probably don't work the way they used to, this one happens to work fairly well. And you probably can't see it, but right in there, in that little dirty window, there's a needle with a straight needle and a needle that has a loop on the end. Now when you take you're looking at your subject to get your exposure, you turn, you've got your ASA set right in there. You turn this little gizmo right here until your ASA or ISO number appears opposite the tiny little line right there. You turn this ring until the needle with the loop on the end lines up with the straight needle, and then your calculator is right here. This is your f-stop, and the outer ring here gives you your shutter speed. So let's just pretend that this thing, the needles came together right about there. So your f-stop would be 11, and your shutter speed would be set for 125th, and then you're ready to take shots. A little cumbersome, not really user friendly, but it does work. This meter works pretty well, and as you work it, you can feel that it doesn't have the fit and finish of its Japanese counterpart. It's good. It's not a terrible piece of equipment. It just isn't quite as smooth. And I'm told these mostly are Leica rip-offs. Whether they are or not, I don't know. But they're nice pieces of equipment. If you have one, or if you're going to get one, one thing to remember is make sure your shutter is cocked before you adjust the shutter speed. You pull that ring up and turn it in either direction to get the shutter speed you want, and then fire. And this has a Helios 44 lens, and when I got it, it didn't work. It was very sticky. One of the things that is a real problem with old Russian cameras is the lubricant that they used on their lenses and inside the body of the camera in the works. Enough decades go by, it turns into something that really isn't a lubricant anymore, and it was just you really had to work it to turn that focus ring. So one of the nice things about the Soviet stuff is most of it's pretty mechanic friendly. I took this lens apart with no real trouble. There's 100 websites online to show you how. Took it apart, cleaned it up, relubricated it, and now it works pretty darn good. And it takes decent pictures. There's some rumors that the lenses on these Russian cameras were radioactive. That's not true. And research will show you that. So I don't think there's anything else about this. They're nice. Again, it's a heavy camera. It's made out of die-cast metal, all metal, everything. It's built like a truck. It doesn't have all the when you're using it, it doesn't feel as nice as a high-end SLR of the same time period. This one's a little bit newer than the Pentax, but still, it's pretty good, just not great. And I'm told that these models, which are the export models, are different than what the Russian people got. These are better. The export models got a lot more effort put into them. Whether that's really true or not, I don't know. That's just what I've been told. And here I have a Fed 5, which was made in the middle 90s. At one point I knew exactly what the year was, but I don't remember right at the moment. It was sometime in the middle 90s. Same technology. It's got, I guess we would call it a slight update. Instead of, excuse me, two needles that line up, it has one needle going across a printed card with numbers on it. And here again, you would set your ASA. There's 400 right there, ISO. There's a little tiny line on that inner ring, so you line up whatever your film speed is with that little line. Point the camera at your subject. The needle, which does work on this camera, swings to wherever it's going to swing. Well, let's pretend it's going to rest on 6. So you would turn this outer ring